and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. I'm your host, Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate. We've got an awesome show lined up for you today, but before we dive in, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has sent in notes and comments about how much you're enjoying the show. I'm having a blast doing it, so I love knowing that it's helping and making a difference for people. You know, I've been selling real estate for 22 years, and while I love houses, the part I like the most is really diving into the individual neighborhoods and what makes them unique and fun and a great place to live. And that's really what this show is all about, is each week we highlight somebody or a business or an event that makes the 425 a great place to live. So we don't talk about real estate a lot on the show, but no, I'm always here for you. If you are looking to buy or sell a house, you can reach me at Nicole@NicoleMangina.com. I would love to chat with you. And if I'm not the right person for you, I will gladly refer you to someone else, because I think you should always work with a neighborhood expert. And I know a lot of great agents in the area if for some reason we're not the right fit. But today I'd like to introduce Debbie Rosemont with Simply Placed. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes. So it's Simply Placed is your company, which, as the name implies, is kind of about organizing and getting your act in gear, which I think is so perfect. The kids are back in school. I was sharing with you before the show, September is my month to get back in gear. Work ramps up, school ramps up. Kind of feel like I slacked off a little bit over the summer, so I'm trying to make up for lost
schedule,
time.
maybe.
I think that's a nice way to put it. Thank you. But I hyperventilate a little bit with all the stuff on the schedule, so I think it's perfect that you're here today.
Thank you. I think so too. And today is a good day. You know, certainly on a somber note. Just the 9/11, 17 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
It changed our world.
It sure did. I still remember that day.
I do too. I
And
remember
where I was.
clearly.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I think that the fact that we can talk about, time management and organization, on a day like today, we can think, well, why would that matter? And really, this is all about having time for what's important to you.
Yes.
And today, more than many other days, we remember what is important to us and what we want to have time for.
Yes. I love that.
Thanks.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit about your company, Simply Placed, kind of what your specialties are. And I'm always curious how people got into doing what they do. So I'd love to hear that as well.
Yeah. Well, we're a professional organizing and productivity consulting and training firm.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a team of expert organizers
You
and
do,
productivity consultants.
You're kind of a big deal.
Well, I've got a great team. So
you do.
I couldn't do it alone. Let's put it that way.
I love
really, really do have a great set of employees, and we go into people's homes and into companies and help them get and stay organized.
Okay.
So we have a residential division where, we can help somebody at home. And then we also have a commercial division where we go into companies and we help their employees make better use of their time and their space and, get more done with less stress so that they have more time for what matters most.
I love that, which it's a big deal. It's interesting. I notice it with myself, but I'm noticing it with our kids right now too, right? The whole time management is a huge piece and really fits under the whole organizational.
It does.
How are you going to structure your life umbrella? We're working with that with our oldest right now. You thought you needed 20 minutes for homework. You really needed an hour and a half. How are you going to plan this whole thing?
And it's not really something that's taught in class in school. I mean, they may touch on it. And in schools, many schools starting as early as 4th and 5th grade are giving kids planners.
Yes.
But they don't really work with them on how to use them and how to manage their time. So what you Organize for School Success is one of the workshops that we teach. And we actually have that coming up in a few weeks at a TeenWise event.
Oh, great.
That Sherry Gizzy is doing. So a little bit on that, but it's for middle school girls because what a great age to start to learn these life skills.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I love it. And if somebody wanted to find out more about that, how would they find it?
If they Google or go to our website, we've written about it recently.
Okay.
TeenWise is the company that's putting it on. It's run by Sherry Gizzy.
Okay.
And Lynette Apley, one of my employees, is presenting Organize for School Success at that event. I believe it's September 29th.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Yeah. And we'll make sure we have a link on the website after the show to NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Great. Yeah. All right, perfect. Well, we were talking about the real estate part of organizing, especially with a move, both before and after. Right. What are some of the things that you guys do?
Any time that there's transition in someone's life, and a move certainly is a big transition, it's a great time to think about how you're organized, how you're managing your time, and how you're going to maybe make change to accommodate that transition and get to that next chapter. And with the move, you have both what happens putting the home on the markets, and We come in and help realtors or help their clients do what I call pre-staging. So often they'll have a stager that they work with, or they may be a stager themselves, but I don't believe you can stage a cluttered home. So we can help people clear clutter and get ready for the staging. The ultimate goal of that, of course, is to allow the prospective homeowner to walk in and imagine themselves in that space.
Right.
And so when they can see room for their things and imagine themselves and their art on the walls and their family living at the, kitchen table, then they're more attracted to that home. So that's what we try and do in helping somebody declutter and get their house ready to put on the market.
Right.
And then on the other end, we help with an organized unpack and put away. So when somebody's moving into a new home, we can help them get out of boxes quickly. Again, because we have a team, we can bring a number of organizers in. And there's no better time to organize than right from the beginning if you have the opportunity to do so.
Right. Well, and I think that I love that you do that because, first of all, I think most people don't see their own clutter, right? You might, some people just don't even know that they're cluttered in the first place. But I think there are a lot of people out there, maybe something's not working, right? It doesn't feel right. But to get in and do it yourself is difficult because you don't see your own stuff. I was telling you, we just cleaned out our storage unit over Labor Day weekend, which made me blissfully happy. I know there's lots of people who did really fun and exotic things on Labor Day weekend. We spent ours covered in dust, dealing with boxes. But it's fascinating.
I would find that kind of fun, though, being if I was helping you out, there's a lot of things that I could maybe like in your little, area. Shop there.
There's some good stuff there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like a little gold mine there.
Yeah, I think so. One person's,
I'm my own little picker.
I like it.
Right?
Yes, exactly. But it can be overwhelming. And then some of it's kind of sentimental, too, right? So I think it's easy to get derailed on, oh, I remember this or I remember that. And all of a sudden now you're just in a pile of junk and you didn't get anywhere.
I think it's the overwhelm that we hear most often when people call. Is, hey, I'd move forward on this myself. Maybe I even know what to do. I'm okay with letting things go, but I'm totally overwhelmed. So that's one of our first objectives is to help take that overwhelm away. And I think we do a good job at that.
I think that's amazing because it is a talent and I think it's hard, can be difficult to do if that's not how you're naturally wired. And even if you are to do it, there are certain things to do for yourself are very, very difficult. And I think this totally falls into that category.
Yes.
So I think even naturally organized people to have somebody else come in and help.
I have had organizers help me before.
Oh, I love that.
It's a great training exercise
I
for
bet.
employees. That's a win-win.
Yeah. And then having somebody organize your house when you move in is great. I have to admit, I have a hard time setting up organizational systems. I so appreciate them in other people's environments, though, right? I have this one girlfriend. She has the most organized pantry. It sounds so silly, but I just love looking at her pantry because it's so organized. Mine does not look that way.
Well, I think that the goal of organization is so that you can find what you need when you need it, right? So you're not wasting time.
Yes.
That long time ago, closer to when I started Simply Place, which was 15 years ago, I read the statistic that the average American wastes an hour a day looking for things they know they have but can't find.
Yes.
So that organized pantry is saving her, if you think about the use of the pantry and getting things out for breakfast and maybe packing lunches if she has kids and, thinking about healthy eating.
Right.
Knowing that she knows what she has, she can find things easily, she can put them away easily, food doesn't go bad. She isn't buying things that she already owns and creating more waste.
Yes.
It's tremendously important and valuable in saving time, money, stress.
Oh, for sure. I can only imagine all the things. I know I've done it, right? When I've bought something a second time because I forgot I had it or couldn't find it. And then you think, okay, well, make somebody happy when I donate it.
That's right.
Or give it away.
That's right.
How did you get into this? What was the impetus to start your company?
I had stepped out of a career in corporate America. I'd been in HR for about 10 years. And I had 2 young kids at the time. And I was thinking about, after a short break to be home with them, was thinking about what was I good at and really tried to just listen to what other people had told me and kind of messages I was receiving, and helping other people organize, helping other people manage their time and their projects was a message I kept hearing that, hey, you should do that for a living.
I love it.
I thought, who's going to pay me to do that, right? So fast forward 15 years and
Lots of people.
there are people for whom it's not a skill. And so if I can, and as a company, if we can really help take that overwhelm away and simplify someone's life and give them the gift of time. That's something we've been thanked for before that just lights me up.
Right.
And help them reach their goals in their personal and professional life. That makes me so happy. And that, we can be paid to do so that I can contribute to the world in, charitable ways and do things with my family that I want to do as well. It's a win-win. So
I love that.
I really just got started by listening to what other people were telling me I was good at, thinking about the skills I used in corporate America and how those might translate.
Right.
And then I just let everyone know what I was doing and said, hey, if you know someone that could use some help, let me know. And it really spread at the beginning by word of mouth.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
And you do quite a bit with people in their work environment as well, right?
Yep.
Both as individuals and then with teams or companies. And things,
Yeah.
Right?
So on the corporate side, while we might still get involved with physical organization, really more of our time is spent on productivity training, so group training, teaching people how to more effectively and efficiently manage their email and their tasks and their time, run more efficient meetings, be better delegators, prioritizing, again, making sure that they have time in the business world for what's important to them and what's going to generate revenue or satisfy their clients or retain their employees. So group training, and then we also do individual consulting, and often we pair the two. So we'll do a group training and then consult with those individuals as a follow-up to help them implement what they just learned.
I love it.
Thanks.
Which I think it's huge.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest time management organizational things or tips that you think help people the most?
Yeah, I'm just kind of running through our most popular topics. One of them is called multitasking makes you stupid.
So we try and believe that.
Yeah, we try and put a little playful spin on our titles, but that's something that we teach a lot. Is we teach people how to do the opposite of multitasking, which is to focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
And studies show that multitasking doesn't work. We can't actually with things that we need to think about. We cannot concentrate on two things at a time. So we end up losing time. We make mistakes. Our stress level goes up.
Right.
And so the more effective thing to do is to focus. And that's a skill we need to practice, especially in today's society where we have all this input. We have our phone buzzing. We have email coming in and notifications popping up. We have somebody stopping in and ask us a question, right? There's lots of potential distraction that can cause us to want to multitask or feel like we have to get it all done. And so we need to learn the opposite, learn how to focus.
I so believe that.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, with the kids, right? They always have their headphones on and their phones close by while they're doing their homework.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that might not be the best plan.
Well, I guarantee you it's taking them longer, right?
Right.
Now, the convenience of having information at your fingertips is great too. So if they're using it truly as an aid to the work that they're doing, that's one thing. But if they're doing a little homework and then checking Snapchat and then doing a little homework
think there's
and
a little
checking Instagram, then you
detour.
have to think that every time they're stopping the focus on the homework and going over here, they're losing attention. And then when they get back to the homework, there's what's called residual attention that still remains on the social media or on the phone or the email or whatever they were looking at. So they're not really engaged in this anymore either. So lots of time lost.
I totally agree with that. And I love that people are acknowledging. I have firmly believed, at least for myself for years, I am not a good multitasker.
Yeah.
I can do one thing at a time and I can, tick them off the to-do list fairly quickly. But as soon as I start multitasking, I just start spinning in circles. And all of a sudden it's a couple hours later. I'm like, I don't really think I have anything to show for that time.
Right.
I worked on a lot of stuff, didn't really get anything done.
That's true. So that's definitely one. I think the another thing with time management, you asked about just, general tips. It's the idea of taking a few minutes today to plan for tomorrow or, at the beginning of the day to plan for that day, to set your intentions, to prioritize, to look at, if what you hope to get done is realistic, given the time commitments that you have during the day. And when we can do that, rather than just diving in and kind of frantically moving, we are more productive because there's a difference between being busy and being productive.
So true.
Yeah. So that planning can really help in that.
That's awesome.
That's another idea.
Yeah. We do that in our house. I do it for my business. On Sunday, I plan for the whole week, like what are the activities and tasks I need to do. Also, because one of the things I talk about when I train agents is, there's offensive time. I live in a house of all boys, so all of my analogies are sports related.
Red zone.
But there's, in your business especially, there's offensive and defensive time.
Yes.
Right? Both are important. Both
Right.
need to be done.
Yep.
But you really only score points on offense, right?
It's true.
Very easy to spend your whole week doing defense, stuff that's important and needs to be done. And you can say you're super busy, but you didn't really have anything to show for it at the end of the week.
So I would give the analogy with the offense and defense, and I love that, with being proactive and reactive.
Yes.
And so if we think about how we are at work or how we are as parents at home or even kids in school, exactly to your point, there are things that we do to move our objectives and our goals forward. Right. Proactive projects, the things that are going to yield results that we want. And then there's times we have to be reactive. And
for sure,
living in your email all day long and not getting to the proactive things is a very reactive way to work, because your inbox is filled with other people's requests of your time, of your information, right? And so there's definitely a difference there.
Most definitely. But I think it's important for people. There's a difference, right? You can be super busy being reactive, but the proactive stuff is important. And then my husband and I do it, on Sunday as well. We have to sync our schedules just so otherwise you get to Wednesday and you're like, hey, who's picking up the kids today?
That's right.
I don't know. I thought you were.
It's important to do as a family. It's important to do as a team. If you're at work and you have an assistant to sync up there too. So those, just even we can call them a huddle, right?
Yes.
Back to the sports analogy.
There you go.
I'm kind of into sports myself. So
it's football season. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that huddle can help get everybody on the same page, right? You're working from the same playbook. And then you're ready to move forward.
Yeah, I think that's so important. That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. What else do you see come up, especially when you're doing, let's go back to kind of organizing at home.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest kind of clutter or kind of stuck points?
I think the idea, we try to, when we're working with clients, we definitely help them declutter and we help them organize their space. But I think when we end with putting good systems in place that they're going to be able to maintain, teaching them good habits to help them, stay on top of that, that's where the emphasis is.
Right.
So we can help somebody clear clutter. And when people have clutter or too much stuff, it's usually because it's hard to make decisions on things. It can be hard for some people to let go. And even for those who don't have a hard time letting go, just taking the time to do so, can be difficult to fit in. So we can come in and help somebody go through a process of sorting their things so that it makes the decision-making process easier when they can visualize how many X do they have.
Yes.
And then they can think through what do they need to meet their goals, right? And their goals might be to have an organized space, and here's how many will fit comfortably so that you can put things away so you can find them easily. So we sort, we help them purge or get rid of clutter. We help them assign a home logically to the things that they have and that they want to keep so that things are together, so that things that are used most often are the easiest to get to, so that things are close to where they're used. Again, saving time all along the way.
I love that.
We help them contain the items. So whether we have things in their home already that we're going to use as containers, and we always try and do that first. We call it shopping your own home before you go buy more.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll label. And the label can be with words or with, young kids in the house. Sometimes it's pictures so they can know that this is where the Legos go.
Right.
Right.
I love that.
And then we help them establish habits so that they can maintain that organization. So that's kind of the process with organizing stuff. And then thinking through systems just to make life easier. So what systems might a household need for keeping up with laundry?
Yes.
For meal planning, for getting homework done,
right?
For planning the week. Those are all things that when we can help them put systems in place, they ultimately end up saving time and are able to stay ahead and be proactive in those areas.
Little things make a big difference.
They do.
We do a lot of Sunday night cooking, right? Lunches and all of that kind of snacky stuff for the week. And that, it's a lot to do on Sunday, although I kind of do it when I'm making dinner. So it's just more pans to clean. It's not really more time.
Right.
But then it really makes a big difference for everything going smoothly during the week. And it's funny, the container thing. So for us, I'm imagining this is for other people too. We've got the cabinet in the kitchen that has the vitamins and the tea and all that kind of stuff, which is usually kind of a disaster. Right,
there's a lot of little items.
Yeah, and it's the stuff in the back you don't even know is there. Like a bottle gets tipped over. There's all kinds of stuff. So I just bought some little, they're clear, kind of that clear lucite container, and so everything has to go in the deal. So I still have the stuff, but it's in there. Then it means if I need something in the back, I can pull it out, and it's amazing how even something as little as that, it looks better when I go in there.
Right.
And then I can find things, and it's not as spastic as it was before.
And a container can create boundaries as well.
Yes.
So, let's talk about magazines, right?
Right.
If the household has a lot of magazines and you have a container for them, a magazine rack, then you can have a rule like if the magazine rack is full, it's time to purge, right? It's time to let go. Or new one in, old one out, right? So that's a system so that you never have clutter all over the place because you're letting that container be the guide.
Yes.
Makes
I
sense?
love that. Yeah, absolutely. When you work with your clients, how do you usually do it? Do you kind of work with them for over a couple of different sessions, or what does it usually look like?
Yeah, it can depend on what their wants and needs are, but we have some clients that we work with very regularly, and so we might go in and help them organize their home or their office and kind of do a bigger push towards the beginning, and that could be through multiple sessions.
Okay.
And then we have some clients that have us back. We call them maintenance appointments.
Right.
So because I mentioned anytime you're in transition, it's a good time to look at organization, productivity, and making sure that your systems fit your current needs and where you want to go. We have clients where we've organized their spaces, but we come back then regularly to help them keep up with that.
Yeah.
And that's satisfying just because then they don't have to do the big effort again. We just help them maintain over time. So sometimes we're involved in a one-time project.
Yes.
We just come in and hit it hard for a day, especially if we have the team there.
Right.
Other times it might be one person with one organizer and they might have multiple sessions, for a short period of time or potentially for a long relationship.
I love that you do maintenance sessions because I think most people assume that organization is a one and done thing, or we want it to be because it's kind of uncomfortable. And, but the reality is it isn't, right? There's always layers to it.
Right.
You can only get so far
Right.
in a certain number of sessions, and then it's like you just need to live with that for a little bit. And the reality is the clutter creeps back, right?
Does.
I mean,
Stuff
we
keeps
have
coming in.
cleaned our garage. I can't tell you how many times.
Sure.
In theory, you clean it once and you should be done.
In theory, but
but it doesn't work that way.
There's this physics to clutter that things will keep coming into our life with no effort on our part, right?
Yes.
I mean, you've got kids, they bring things home from school every day.
Yes.
The mail ends up in the mailbox. We get email in our inbox. But unfortunately, the opposite is not true. Things will not go out of your life without some effort on your part. So periodically spending some time, even on areas you've done before, makes sense.
Yeah.
And the same with at work. We want to take a look at our stuff, our filing system, our digital files, but also our time.
Right.
And we do say organizing is a process. It's not an event. It's not one and done.
Yes.
I mean, hardly ever. So
yeah. Because it's interesting. Like I notice our space feels different, in our house, because in addition to cleaning out the storage unit, we cleaned out some other stuff in the house, and some of it just feels different. So you kind of have to get used to that, right? And then you've got to get used to it. Like I said, I think it's just a process.
Yeah,
so
it is, for sure.
I love that. So if people want to work with you, they can find you at simplyplaced.com.
Yep, simplyplaced.com.
Okay.
And that we've got a couple different ways someone could work with us. One is by having in-person physical organizing services. We also do have some virtual services. So we work over Zoom. We have our It's About Time virtual productivity program.
I love it.
Which is a monthly membership group, and that's a great way to get some assistance if you're not in our physical area or for the do-it-yourselfer.
Got
get
it.
some group support and some accountability, and then some implementation help as well.
Got it.
Virtually.
I love it. Well, your newsletter is fantastic.
Oh, thank
that
you.
you send out. So, and people can sign up for that on your
can.
website
They
as well.
can.
Even if you just do that, I totally recommend signing up for your newsletter.
Thank you.
I always get a really good tip from that every time it comes out.
Yeah, that can be found on our contact page.
Perfect. And I love that. I really like that you do the corporate stuff too. I think people need more help at work than it's like, okay, it occurs to me that I could get help at home, but to realize that, this could benefit me in my work environment as well, I think is great, and maybe something that people don't realize. And especially if you work for a company, company may or may not offer it, but you could totally do it on your own.
Yep.
And it would make such a big difference.
It does. It does make a big difference. And again, it's all about whether it's at home or at work. It's about having time for what matters most. And getting the results you want. So that definitely comes to play at work. And many companies will sponsor individual consulting, and that sometimes turns into consulting to coaching, which can be over a long period of time too. And people get results, so they can show the company the return on investment.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. Well, thanks for joining us
Oh,
today,
you're so welcome.
Debbie. I so appreciate you being here. Before we sign off, You're a 425er. You live in Sammamish.
Yes.
Got your awesome husband, Rob, and then you've got your 2 beautiful children. What's your favorite spot for date night in the 425?
Oh, that's a good question. I love, and we're just kind of coming off summer, but we love the Rusty Putter, which is miniature golfing at the top of Newcastle. So the Newcastle Golf Course, which is a really nice golf course.
Beautiful.
And if you can afford to do that and enjoy golf there, that's great. But the Rusty Putter is an extremely affordable, super fun date night with amazing views of the city. And then not a bad place to get a little bite to eat and drink afterwards.
Oh, fun. So it's part of the Newcastle Golf Course?
It is.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you just check in at the golf store, the pro shop.
Yeah.
And tell them you want to do the Rusty Putter. They may have seasonal hours, so it might be getting towards the end of that now, but that's a fantastic spring, summer, and probably early fall activity.
Oh, that's fun. And then you're right. It's an amazing view up there. You can see it feels like just miles and miles.
And date night or kids, depending on what kind of night you're looking for.
That's awesome. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Debbie.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
For some reason, I'm getting tongue-tied. I so appreciate it.
She already wants to go to the Rusty Putter.
I know. I'm like, let's do this. And thank you for everybody for joining us today on the 425 show. I so appreciate you. Again, you can find all the show notes, links to Debbie's website, The Rusty Putter, and everything else at NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Make it a great week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.